Perfectly Normal, a podcast that brings you love, courage, and connection. And I'm your host, Michelle. I'm a life coach, artist, author, and pharmacist. I'm the founder of Elevate Life Coaching. It's a seminar and coaching company. Let's jump right into the show. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming in and joining me on this episode. So, I hope you guys are having a great start of the year because this is actually, if you're looking on the calendar correctly, this is actually our second week of January. So, we already went through a whole entire week of January. How did it go for you? For me, it was quite busy. I have visitor, I have family member coming from living and staying with us for the holidays, and finally they're gone. And I'm not saying anything about the family. I'm just saying that when people come over to your house, it's one of those things that initially it was great, very very exciting, and you welcome them, and then after a while you start thinking about, well, okay, that's long enough. You guys should go home, that kind of thing. I love them. I care about them. But there's just sometimes I like to have some privacy, and I like to have some time moments where I can truly enjoy myself in my house. But I definitely love them. I love my sister. I love their kids, and I love my brother, and they all come home during the holiday. Holiday is just very, very warm and special to me, and I always look forward to Christmas is always my favorite holiday because everyone gathered together everywhere you go. It's like very holiday. It feels holiday, and I like that feeling of having warm and that family care for each other, friends. For some reason I always have that feeling of, it's a holiday. Let's be extra kind to people. And if you don't be kind throughout the whole entire 365 year, maybe Christmas or holiday time would be the time of the year that you be kind to people. And so that's why I truly, really love holidays. Now that the second week of January, and I noticed that a lot of my social media posts has to do with fitness or losing weight or joining gym or, hey, are you what is your goal this year? How much do you want to lose? So I think browsing through my social media, maybe just me, maybe it has to do with the people that I follow. I need to unfollow them, huh? That come to think of it. But I think, a lot of us think about, our goals from the outside, but we don't look at goals that what we want for ourselves from the inside. So I actually started a 30-day mental fitness challenge on my Facebook, and I sent it out, New Year's Day, and I wanted to invite everybody to come and do a mental fitness challenge for the following 30 days. And what it involves is to help you to release those negative self-talk that we all experience. And I started by giving out examples of these negative self-talk. So what are some of the negative self-talk that you experience? So for me, it was, I'm not pretty enough, I'm too short, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, that kind of self-talk that I constantly experience. And even now, I'm still working on them from day to day. But some of the other negative examples of negative self-talk, it would include maybe like, you're stupid, you'll never be successful, no one appreciate how hard you work. Sounds really familiar, right? Sometimes you hear that phrase, from time to time when you're working in a larger organization, and no one really truly understands you. No one really appreciate how hard you work. They're all about criticizing you. They're all about shaming you, but no one really truly appreciate how hard you work. So that's another example of negative self-talk. Other examples like, he doesn't care about you. When it comes to relationships, sometimes you'll hear that a lot. Oh, he doesn't care about you, and you have that thinking of, well, he doesn't care because he doesn't love me, and he doesn't love me because I'm this way. So that's another example of negative self-talk in a relationship. Other negative self-talk would be this one I heard actually just recently when I was working with a client, and he said that the reason why he's not advancing in his career is because I'm not where I need to be for my age. And the age factor came up because he's older and now he's thinking about, changing to a new career, a new job, but he doesn't feel that he has what it takes to get a new position or to ask for more or even to advance in his own organization. He feels that he's not where he should be for his age. So the age factor also came up. And by the way, I just celebrated my birthday. It was my birthday on the 5th. So happy birthday to me. Yes, everybody sing happy birthday song to please. Anyway, so I started this 30-day mental fitness challenge because I wanted to start giving you skills that you can use on a daily basis to help you navigate through your negative self-talk. And I got interviewed on a couple of podcasts just this past a couple of months. And one of the very common question that people ask me when they do the interview with me is always, how do you get over that negative self-talk? And so I share a lot of really useful tips. For example, the other day I shared the fact that you need to be able to catch it, right? Because many of us go through our daily activity and we don't even realize that we're criticizing someone or we're criticizing ourselves. So we go, our negative self-talk really many times it goes unnoticed. And so the way that you strengthen your mental fitness is that you do something consistently for a period of time. Just like your physical body, our mind, our brain is actually compressed of little tiny muscles, right? So if you think about training your muscle on your body, then why are you not thinking about training your mental health? Like, what's up with that? Right? That just doesn't make sense. So if you're thinking about training and getting fit and getting into, in shape, then let's think about how to train your brain muscles so that you can overcome those negative self-talk that you carry. So number one step to silence those negative self-talk is you need to be able to catch it. If you can catch it, then you have a way of dealing with it. So the way that you catch it is, and I highly recommend this to everyone who's trying to take control back in your life, is to start keeping track of how many times and what are you saying to yourself throughout the day. Like every time you catch yourself talking something very negative or even remotely has to do with negative connotation about yourself or others, start keeping track of them. How many times do you do that a day? And you'll be surprised just by keeping track of the number of time that you criticize or you give yourself some judgment. You'll be surprised how quickly you stop doing it. So that's my first tip in helping you to overcome that negative self-talk. And the number 2 tip is actually just to get real within your reality. And I had a live interview with another speaker yesterday, which is posted on my Facebook. So in case you're not following me yet, make sure you follow me. I'm at Facebook, and you can search me by typing in Life Coaching by Elevate, and my Facebook page will come up, and you can go back and watch the replay. But basically, in that episode, I talked about how to get real with change. And the speaker that I invited, he came on to the show and he shared his perspective in terms of what does it mean to get real with your reality and what does real mean? And being real is really about separating yourself from that negative self-criticism. And a lot of time, that self-criticism, it's not you, it's not real. It's an opinion about who you are and what you have and what you do, right? It's not about the facts. For example, you want to be a writer, but you can't write because you don't have the pen. That's a fact. You don't have the proper pen and therefore you can't write. That's a fact. But by saying that I'm just a very lazy person, I can't get anything done, that's an opinion, right? I mean, how true is that when you say you can't get anything done? I'm sure you go through your life and you get something done. So how true is it when you said that I can't get anything done and I'm just lazy, right? So separate yourself from what is being real and what is really, really, really your reality. What is the reality of it? Are you just making an assumption? Are you just having some kind of opinion about yourself? well, who is that person giving you the opinion? So that's another tip that I share. I've been posting it on the Facebook, so make sure you check it out. And number three tip is to effectively taking control of your own inner critic is by naming your critics. And I did this exercise actually myself. So I came up with, I think you guys just heard my cat sneezing. My apologies, but my cat loved to share the space with me every time I go on public. So I think you just heard my cat sneezing, and oh well. So the third tip that I share is naming your critics. And I actually did this myself. I remember, separating and recognizing my own critic. And I finally realized that this is something that is not real. That's not me. And so who is that? What is that? So I decided that I'm going to visualize it. I'm going to put it into actually make it into something very physical that I can touch. I can squeeze it. I can throw it. So I ended up going out to Kmart and I bought one of those cheap Barbie doll. So I came home with the Barbie doll because, Barbie doll, I mean, it's perfect, right? Every little girl's dream is to have a Barbie doll. And when you look at the Barbie doll, it's a perfect shape, perfect body, perfect, maybe a little too skinny, but, who cares? It looks pretty and beautiful. And that's who I wanted to be. But I am not. And my reality is that I am not. I am nothing close to a Barbie doll. Yet, who am I? I'm more than just a Barbie doll. I am deeper. I am smart. I have wisdom. I have knowledge. I have all of that Barbie doll doesn't have. So I realized that, in order to separate out my inner critics, I have to give it a symbol. I have to look at it. I have to understand that is Barbie doll and I am me. So I separated out my negative self-talk into a shape, into a form. And I actually gave it a name. So her name is Daisy. So for those of you who may have followed me already on Facebook or on my Instagram, you'll come across Daisy. I think I post Daisy like early last year when I first started, this journey as a professional coach. And I remember posting it, sharing that image of Barbie. And it was then, I finally realized that, oh my God, all this year, it finally makes sense why I had to go through everything in order to believe in what I do today. So I actually have a Barbie doll that's sitting on my bookshelf. So sometime occasionally, if you see me online, doing a live show, then you'll see the Barbie doll in the back of my sitting on my bookshelf, and that's the reason why I separated out. And now it's my negative self-talk that I can look at, and I can curse it, I can throw it, I can squeeze it, I can do whatever I want with it, and yet I am in the driving seat. And that's something that I keep sharing with my clients and with people every time I speak. You have to start taking control and get back into your driving seat, right? How many of us have gone through our whole entire life allowing that negative self-talk to take over our driving seat? That negative self-talk is just taking us to everywhere. Now you have a chance and you have a skill that you can use and take control in terms of where you want to go, where you want to drive in your life. Now you have the power to be who you are and to be really using your full potential in everyday life. Now imagine how powerful is that? So that is this week's episode. And like I said, I'm starting the 30-day mental challenge online on Facebook. And I actually started a group. So if you're interested in finding out more about the 30-day mental fitness challenge, make sure you go onto the Facebook. And by typing in Power Up Self-Talk, you'll be able to join a private group, and there's a lot of interaction in that group. And I also share a couple of exercises, and there's free downloads that you can use at home. And occasionally you'll see me jumping on live show and just to do a little episode and power up your self-talk. So That's it for this week. Hey, thanks for joining me this week on Perfectly Normal. Make sure to visit my website at elevatelifecoaching.org. And if you found values in this show, I appreciate a rating on iTunes and Spotify. Or you can simply tell a friend about the show. That would really help me too. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. And be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.